Perhaps ye knows too much. Ye've seen the cursed treasure. You know where it be hidden. Greetings all, welcome to Pirates 365. Today I'll be discussing Pirates of the Caribbean 6. And no, it has not been announced yet, but I have every faith that it will be. That's not a guarantee, but I really hope they do in the near future. And on my channel, I really want to make my channel like a Pirates 6 channel to do all videos about Pirates 6, but we really don't know too much about it, if there's going to be one, what the plot could be. I lost some hair. But I wanted to go over some of my wish lists for Pirates 6 if one does get made. So I just want to talk about some of the things I want to see in the film and elements I'd like to be incorporated into the next story. Let's begin. So one of the biggest things that stands out in my mind is the inclusion of New Orleans. Now, Jerry Bruckheimer discussed this a while ago. I'm not sure if it was after On Stranger Tides or at World's End, but I think he mentioned that he would have Barbossa and Jack meet in New Orleans at the beginning of the film. And while Barbossa won't be part of that, it would be interesting to see the film start in New Orleans with different characters meeting there, possibly Jack, Will, and Elizabeth meeting there, and having some sort of adventure at the beginning where like Jack's trying to get a special diamond or a ring or something. But the reason that I want New Orleans to be included, not just because of the historical pirate aspect of it, but because the ride in the Disneyland Resort resides in New Orleans Square at Disneyland. And I love New Orleans Square, it's my favorite land, all because of pirates. But I'd like to see them do little hat nods to the ride and the attraction and the queue of the attraction. Because let's say if this is the lost film, I would like them to include as much from the ride as they possibly could without it being overkill or cheesy. But that moves me on to the second point. I would like to see the Jolly Roger in the film. And what I mean by that is that I think it'd be cool to see an actual physical talking head, skull and crossbones in the film. We've yet to see it in the films yet, and even though Barbossa spoke some of the lines of the Jolly Roger from the ride in At World's End, I think it'd be really cool to have a fantastical element like that, because the Jolly Roger is such a presence in the marketing and pirates overall. It's like you can't see a piece of Pirates merchandise or teaser poster without the Jolly Roger. And so I think it'd be interesting if the characters went into a cave, and it might be weird, but Pirates is weird, but to have a talking skull actually talking to the characters, and they would go through and maybe he would have some story element to him, or maybe he was cursed to talk as a skull in a cave, I don't know. I think that'd be a really cool idea. I want to see him included somehow in the next film. And I know there was the Jolly Roger in the Pirates Online game, but I think if they were to include him as like an actual walking character, to not have his story be about getting revenge on Jack, because that's already been done with Salazar, so I'd really like to see that. Speaking of the ride, I'd like to see them visit for point 3, a town that's very much like the ride, or the actual town on the ride. And I know that might seem too literal because in Curse of the Black Pearl did feature a lot of the elements of the ride, but in the lore of the ride, it's either called Isla Tesoro, Treasure Island, or Puerto Dorado, which is Gold Port or Golden Port. So to have them visit a town like that and maybe have one scene where Jack is in a barrel and then a guy has a map with a dog like in the ride, I think that'd be a cool reference to the ride. I just think there's a lot of visual elements and story elements of the ride they could use. They could even include the We Wants the Redhead scene in the next film, even though Tales of the Code Wedlocked did cover that, but to have that in an actual film as kind of an homage to the part of the attraction that's leaving, I think that'd be fun. And that kind of tiptoes into my next point, element number 4. I want to hear Yo Ho Yo Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me in this film. Now with the Pirates franchise, they've kind of stepped and steered away from using the song in the films, and I'm not sure the reason why. Of course you hear it sung a few times by characters, but it's not a heavy element in these films. And I mentioned this in a video last year, but I think they could really incorporate the Yo Ho Yo Ho tune in the soundtrack of the film. Since the films are based on the attraction, it'd be awesome to hear something like this in the score. And again, that's from the video I did last year, but I still want to see that included in a Pirates film. Anyways, moving on. The next point I'd like to see in the film is heavy interaction between Will, Elizabeth, Jack, Karina, and Henry. I know it's a lot of characters and I don't want them to be too heavy with including characters, but I think it'd be interesting to see their dynamic with the younger generation and then the older generation, and I want to see Jack working out the characters and using his humor with them like he did with Will and Elizabeth in the first 3. So I want to see the trio together again, and now with Will and Elizabeth's child and Barbossa's child, I want to see that aspect in the film, so that would be really interesting to see how they interact. So let me know what you think in the comments below if you like those ideas of what I want in Pirates 6, or what would you like to see in in Pirates 6? Are there any elements that you'd like to see that I didn't mention? Thanks so much for watching. I will see you this Friday with a brand new video. And remember, it's a pirate's life for me, Tom Mates.